Hello, and welcome to the first installment of Artist Talks for the 2020 Jurors Invitational online exhibition. My name is Sean Barnes, and I am the gallery coordinator at the Leonore R. Fuller Gallery in the Kenneth J. Minart Center for the Arts at South Puget Sound Community College. We are fortunate today to be invited into the home studio of Hart James. Hart James is a Pacific Northwest painter based in Olympia, Washington, and a regular contributor to the Leo Fuller Gallery and a visiting artist at the SPSCC Art Department. Hart is represented by the Harris Harvey Gallery in Seattle, Washington, and the Smith and Vallee Gallery in Edison, Washington. Hart has attended several artist residencies, including, but not limited to, Vermont Studio Center, Oxbow Artist Residency, and the Morris Graves Foundation. Hart will be showing work with Harris Harvey at the 2020 Seattle Arts Fair, and in 2023, she will have a solo exhibition at the Museum of Northwest Art in LaConner, Washington. Hart James will show with artist Janice Arnold this September at the Leo Fuller Gallery in a full sensory installation titled Cathedral of the Sacred. Hello, Hart.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for having all of us. You are in your studio, and I see some of the work that's in this current exhibition. I just want to lead us off with a question, and then we'll just kind of have a conversation here. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Awesome. So just stepping right into it, how does a painting typically begin for you?
Well, to begin the process, which is what I did this morning, so I'm kind of itching to paint. I read articles, I look at videos on artists, and that inspires me. And I have an image in mind to start with, which has become a little more difficult the more I paint, because there's beginning to be hundreds and thousands of images. But I have an image in mind, and I've been inspired, and I'm set to paint. I start with a white canvas. I put a ground of ochre or ochre browns, or some of the muck out of the bottom of my Gamsol container, which at this point is kind of a blue-gray, any mixture of that, and I drip the canvas in that. Then I sketch out with charcoal what I plan to do, and I work primarily with palette knife and rag. I would, sometimes at the end I'll come in with a brush, but I would much rather scrub something out with a rag, or even use my finger in the rag to be the paintbrush. So that's my approach.
Very cool. Awesome. Can you talk about the relationship between working from life out in the field and working in the studio with from alternative source material like photographs and things like that?
Back when I was in school, it was a big no-no to use photographs. Now technology is such a huge part of what we do that it's okay. And besides, my goal is not to paint a photographic painting. I feel very strongly that we already have photographs. Everybody has photographs. So painting takes you to another level. It takes you to a poetry and essence of what you're after. To go out in the field requires has physical restrictions, allergies, bad backs, etc. And also you can't control the light. You can control the light. I actually can't see things when I'm outside. It's just too bright. My colors are all off. So in the studio, you can control the light. And I move it around to a dark wall, to a brighter wall, distance up close, to while the whole time I'm painting, I'm moving the painting around the whole house.
Excellent. Can you show us some of that work that maybe is either featured in the current exhibition or something you're working on?
Okay. I've been working on something for a week, and I just finished it, but I'll show you some other things. This is in the exhibition, and it shows my process, really. And the painting, artists will tell you that the painting, just like a sculptor says, stone tells you what it wants you to sculpt. As you proceed with the painting, it tells you when and what it needs. And this one, I was like, oh my God, am I done? And at which point I actually texted Sean and said, is this done? So that was very helpful. So you see the washes, you see the dripping, the loose lines. Composition is a big part of what I do with, there's always things going off the edge. Things are never exactly centered. And if they are, there's something a little odd about it. This one was the one that was in the show that Donna juried, which got me into this next show. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Sean. And this one, I can't really see it. This one I worked on for quite a while, but I managed to retain the freshness. It's called The Creek is High, and it's from a spot of the country that I'm very familiar with from a friend sent the image. And growing up, there were, our creek, like all the other creeks, would rise, and it was so much fun as a kid to go down and explore the rising creeks, which is really where I spent my childhood, outside and with the creeks.
So that painting is inspired by an image from the land that you grew up around.
Yes.
I see. And so I'm just curious. This is a problem a lot of artists confront, I think, at certain stages in their practice. But like when you stand in front of the big white void, how do you make your first mark? What is there? Do you have a ritual, or is it a spontaneous thing? How do you enter a painting?
I shoot for, well, I have music going, and it's music that makes me want to dance. So that keeps the motion going when I'm painting. And I shoot for not overthinking it. There may come points when I start going, oh my God, now what do I need to do? And at that point, I might think it through, but I shoot for spontaneity, not getting tangled up in what do I do now? Just doing it and hoping that it will come from within. That's my goal. The best paintings just come from within and are present on the canvas, become present on the canvas.
That's a really that's very challenging for artists, and especially young art students. If you know, some of our art students will probably be watching these videos, and what you mentioned, just to begin and not overthink, is a really significant aspect in the creative process. It also represents certain philosophies that your work connects to. And you reference these often when you talk about your work, and I think it expresses itself in your paintings. But can you talk a little bit more about where the concepts that you're inspired with, certain environmental philosophies or what have you?
Well, to the young students, I would say, look for the thing that throughout your life has inspired you, something you really feel connected with. And that's the direction you should go when you're painting, because a good painter finds what's within them to put onto the canvas. It's about your own being, your own personality. Everybody's different, so therefore your approach is going to be different. For me, I grew up on my family's farm, my grandfather's farm, the neighbor's farm. They all lived there for so long that they all knew each other. It was about 1,500 acres, and so I could roam the whole area. Spent a lot of time by the creek, out in the fields, and that is who I am. I followed that through with going into landscape design, install as an art form, horticulture. I also spent a good deal of time in high school. I was fortunate enough to be able to go to the Smithsonian Gallery of Asian art almost every weekend. And then I studied Asian studies as I continued. So the Zen painting I mentioned a lot, because Zen painting has the quick brush movement. You're not thinking about doing this brush movement. You've practiced it and you do it. You put the brush down hard in one area, you lift it up. That's exactly what Zen painting is about. And it's about capturing the spontaneity and the energy of what you're painting, which is precisely what I'm trying to do. And this one, I can get it in there, has the feeling for me of a Zen painting because it's one stroke. And then I did go back and did what one could call glazing with my palette knife. So I don't know if you can see it, but down in this corner here, there's 3 or 4 different colors, maybe more, going on as I've overlapped areas. Does that get at it? So what I'm after in my work is the essence of the place, of nature, and putting it out there for everyone to connect with, and also with intuition, which I also think is part of nature. I think nature, the feminine, and intuition have all lost a great deal of respect in our world, and I think they're all hugely important to us. So that's what I'm painting.
Wonderful. Yeah. So thank you so much. So in the last, we've got a little bit less than a minute. Is there anything that you'd like to add or to show us in your studio? Maybe your work table or something like that. I don't know.
Well, quickly, I'll show you a painting that's going to Harris, if I can focus. Harris Harvey's going to take it to Seattle Art Fair. Here's one I just finished. This one was at the Seattle Art Fair last year with Smith and Vallee. And here is my work table. Here's the palette. This thing comes from Michael's. It's plastic. It has a blue lid like Tupperware top. I ordered a piece of heavyweight glass to go in the bottom, and it lives in the freezer. And this is my Gamsol. And there's the muck. Occasionally I wash my brushes.
Wonderful. Well, Hart, thank you so much for allowing us to enter your home and in these COVID times, and it's such a pleasure and a joy to see these wonderful landscapes in your space. And I look forward to seeing more of your work.
Thank you, and everybody stay well.
All right, thanks, Hart. Bye-bye.
Bye.